So I'm currently in the process of remodeling my basement. There are quite a few walls that need to come down, and the style of framing that's in my basement, I have wood studs and they're held in place with metal track. I felt like the easiest way to remove those walls would be to take a Sawzall, cut the studs as close to the track as possible, and I could just take the studs out and rip out the track. And then the Sawzall is one of the many tools that I don't have, so saved up some money and I decided to buy this Sawzall right here. This is a Makita XRJ05Z, and this is the tool only version. You can buy these Sawzalls in kits, completely up to you. And I'm going to do a quick review of this Sawzall. There's really not many videos out there reviewing this Sawzall, so hopefully I can help a few people out there make the right choice if this is the right Sawzall for you. So cost-wise, I got this tool, which again, this is the tool only, and I bought it through Home Depot, and they also had a deal where if you buy the tool, they'd also include a 5 amp hour battery, which I have in the charger right now, and that costs $200. This is a brushless Sawzall, mind you, so brushless lasts longer. It's going to be a little bit more expensive up front, but in my opinion, if you buy something brushless, depending on how you treat it, it'll probably last a lifetime. So let's start talking about the Sawzall itself. This is an 18-volt Sawzall. Makita does also make a 36-volt Sawzall, meaning that it has dual batteries and it takes both those batteries and turns the voltage into 36 volts. So runtime with the 36 volt is going to be a little bit longer, and you're probably going to be able to get through some gnarlier stuff if you really need to. But for a guy like me, around the house, taking down walls, even taking it on job sites, if you like the 18 volt, will suit me just fine. So let's start going over the tool. Your battery's down here. Really nice cushion grip. Feels really firm in the hand. Feels like a hefty, well-made tool. Sometimes you pick up a tool, it feels kind of cheap, plasticky. Not this one. I like the padding all around, so if you drop it, it feels like it could take a little bit of a beating. Let's take a look at the trigger right here. So with this tool, it is a dual speed tool. So if I move this little switch over to the right, I believe we are on, we're actually on speed 2 right now. So when I squeeze down the trigger, it's going to go full RPM. And if I switch it to the left, it's going to be a slower RPM. Hopefully you can hear the difference. And then also, if I put this trigger right in the middle, it locks out the trigger, so kind of like a trigger lock, which is a nice feature. Why would you want dual speed? Well, if you're cutting through metal, the trick when you're cutting through metal is to keep things cool. So when you're drilling through metal, when you're cutting through metal, you want to turn the speed down a little bit. But this is also a variable speed trigger, so I can pull this down slightly, and I can go nice and slow. On some of the older tools, the older Sawzalls, when you pull this trigger down, it's just all or none. So it's nice that they have an adjustable speed trigger right there. You have a flip-up handle, or hanger, rather. So if you're working up on a ladder and you want to hang this tool up for a second so you have both hands to do what you need to do, you have a nice hanger, which I like this. I think this is going to suit me really well. But if you're not a big fan of this, you can just unbolt it, take it off. Folds down nice and snug to the tool. I'm going to take the battery out while I'm screwing around with that. One time, I had the battery in. I was changing out a blade on a different brand Sawzall at work, and somehow the trigger got triggered and I pinched my finger, so I always get in the habit of taking the battery out whenever I'm changing blades or screwing around with the head. So you have a guard right here, and this guard is adjustable. If you flip up this little handle right here, you can pull this guard further out, and then just flip that handle back down. That locks that guard in place. So you can adjust this guard based on what you're doing. And then also I should say, with this tool, Makita did throw in a little, this is like a little 6-inch wood cutting blade. So we use this right now to demonstrate how to install a Sawzall blade. So what you do, you slip it down and it automatically locks. Pretty simple. And if you want to take it out, twist this twist lock to the left, it pops right out and it stays locked. So when you want to put one back in, just slide it right in. If you can line it up, and it automatically locks. So that is a pretty darn cool feature. Now, in addition to buying this tool, I also bought a carbide tipped metal cutting blade, and there's actually a metal cart outside that I want to cut apart and resize so I can put my arc welder over there in the back underneath the shelf, and I'm going to put my plasma cutter underneath my MIG welder, which traditionally whenever I wanted to cut metal tubing, I always used to have to use the angle grinder, so it's kind of exciting to see how we do with this Sawzall. So let's go outside and give this thing a try. All I can say is, wow, what a great tool. So convenient. It just makes cutting through steel tubing so much easier. Traditionally, when I wanted to cut through steel tubing, do a project like that, cut something apart, I'd have to break out the angle grinder, undo the cord, make sure that I had a fresh cutoff wheel in there, and then, you know, every 8 cuts, I got to replace the cutoff disc, sparks shooting up everywhere. Noise-wise, I will say they're about the same, but I feel like I can get much straighter cuts with a Sawzall on a carbide tip blade versus an angle grinder, because an angle grinder, you know, trying to work it this way and that way and trying to keep it straight, spark shooting in your face, as where this, it's so long, it's so much easier to get a straight cut. Plenty of power. I'm really impressed with this tool so far. Of course, time will tell, and especially when I go in the basement and start cutting through wood studs, I don't know. There's no doubt in my mind that this is going to do an amazing job cutting through wood in the basement. Battery life, I don't know. Not 100% sure how long the battery life will last. Of course, you know, it's dependent on what type of work you're performing. Recommendation, always have a spare battery charge up, ready to go. You know, you'll never have a problem. A few other quick things. Safety-wise, always make sure you wear safety glasses. I had safety glasses on in the beginning, and it is a bit loud, especially when you're cutting through metal, so hearing protection, especially through metal. Not sure how quiet or loud it is when cutting through wood. And another thing, another quick safety tip, which I just found out, if this blade gets pinched, it's going to jerk back at you. It's really going to shoot back at you. It's going to backfire a bit. So my recommendation would be, when you're holding this thing, hold it off to the side, so if it does jerk, it'll jerk off to the side. You know, don't hold it right in front of your face, because if this thing gets pinched and it jerks back, you're going to knock your teeth out. So that's it for today's video. Great tool. I'm really happy with it so far. Really impressed. But of course, time will tell. Anyway, if you're interested in this tool, I will leave a link in the description below as to where you can purchase one. Also, if you have any other questions about this tool, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll answer that when I get a chance. And that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.